So I guess I'm going to talk about my drill again, and I'm going to talk about stupid people. And for those of you that commented, oh, don't feed the trolls, Wes. Well, I'm not feeding the trolls, because, trolls ain't worth feeding. I'm just telling you and them that there's something really mentally wrong with them. Okay, so I live in New Jersey. I don't live in Wisconsin. I don't live in the Midwest. I don't live anywhere where we have 100-acre fields or 200-acre fields or 500-acre fields where, say, a 45-foot grain drill would be necessary, or a 60-footer, or a 30-footer, or whatever it is that they sell out there. It's not that I couldn't go out and buy one. It really isn't that I couldn't go out and buy one. I could go down to John Deere today's Sunday, tomorrow afternoon, and I could say, hey, I would like to order a 45-foot air seeder so I can put in 400 acres of soybeans. Yeah, that's right, you heard me. 400 acres of soybeans, right? So this is what's so comical about these stupid people that say, oh, it's just a baby drill. After all, it is only a 15-foot drill. Well, you're right, it is. It's a 15-foot grain drill. It is suited perfectly to put in approximately 1,000 acres of row crop, or drill about 1,000 acres in a season. And that may be 500 acres of soybeans and 500 acres of wheat or oats or whatever it is. Easily put 1,000 acres in. You can pretty comfortably in a day put in 70 acres per day. Yeah, it doesn't sound like much if you're in the Midwest, but here in New Jersey, that would involve moving probably 8 times to 8 or 10 different fields to put in 70 acres. We have small fields, okay? So this baby drill, to go down the roads that we have here in New Jersey, it actually takes up the whole entire road. So could you imagine me going out and spending, I don't know, $250,000 on a brand new air seeder to do 5 to 25 acre fields, maximum 50 acre fields, and I've only got 2 of those. But just think about that. Would it make economical sense to just shit can a perfectly good drill that is suited for my size operation to impress people that have no life, that just think that what I do and others around the country that use equipment like this are wasting the ground that they farm? Well, the fact of the matter is there's probably more drills this size out there in this country running on more acres than there are the great big drills, because there's a lot of nooks and crannies around the country that, produce grain, and they do use these. I mean, Iowa isn't all just one flat level state where you can use a 60-foot air seeder or a 30-footer or a 45-footer or whatever it is you're running. There's plenty of places in Iowa, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, where a drill this size is more than adequate to do what it needs to do, and that is to poke seeds in the ground to produce a crop that puts somebody's kid through college, a roof over a family's head, food in their mouth, and clothes on their back. Would I like to have a bigger grain drill? Yeah. Honestly, I really would. I think it would be more beneficial for me to have the 30-foot air seeder, but am I willing to spend $180,000 today or next year or maybe the year after? Not really. You know what I'll do for the next 4 or 5 years? I'll run this drill. It'll continue to make me money. It isn't going to cost me anything for at least probably 8,000 acres, 7,000 or 8,000 acres before I have to start replacing seed boots and tubes and shit like that. But for the most part, it doesn't owe me anything. It won't owe me anything. Even after I'm done putting all this money into it, which was close to $15,000, mind you, a lot of hand labor, a lot of welding, a lot of engineering, which I enjoyed doing. I really did enjoy using my brain power and some good old-fashioned elbow grease and maybe some antique equipment to cut bushings, to track down parts and pieces to fix my old drill, and make it new again, to plant the acreage that needs to be planted. I mean, anybody that's planting 800 acres and less of soybeans could easily get away with one of these. And yeah, won't be the neighbors will all be down at the bar room or wherever they go when they're done planting, patting themselves on the back while you're still out there in the field at 11, 12 o'clock at night. But the banker knows that when you're done with your 750 drill, you put it up in the shed, that they don't have to worry about getting that payment for that thing because it's long since been paid for. Yeah, so everything that I put in here and into this machine is paid for with my hard work and sweat equity, the help from my family, my wife, my little guy, Timothy, my dad. You know, the whole world doesn't revolve around new equipment. Yeah, it would be nice to go out and buy one of those. It really would. It might even make somebody else feel better, you know. And maybe this year, just maybe, at the end of this year, I might have to go spend some money. I might make enough money that I will have a surplus of it, and instead of giving it to the government, you might see a new piece of equipment. But it won't be one of these. It won't be. It won't be a new drill. It'll probably be, I don't know. I'm not even sure, because you know what? It's the beginning of the year, and at least I know, with all the uncertainties that are going on in the world today, that this drill will go to the field. It will stick seeds in the ground. They will emerge. I'll pray for rain, even though I'm not religious, and I'll hope that the new path that I'm on is beneficial to me, because if not, it's going to cost a lot of money, and probably a lot of tears included. And at least then, this drill is still worth $35,000 being completely rebuilt. Yeah, believe it or not, $30,000 to $35,000 completely rebuilt with all the updates that I can possibly put on one of these. Yeah, it will be worth about that much money, because a brand new one of these 15-foot baby drill in a 1590 series is $70,000, $75,000, $80,000, and you can even go to $100,000 if you add more bells and whistles and stuff. But yeah, so I'm not feeding the trolls. I'm just trying to produce content that people enjoy watching. You know, my trials, tribulations, me solving issues with a drill that John Deere doesn't want to support anymore because of the serial number, not because they don't make every part for a 750 yet. They just don't make every part for this 750. And I think that I've done a pretty good job of overcoming issues and problems that have arose by having such an old grain drill. And I'm pretty sure that when I'm done and everything is running correctly, it'll just pump money into my pocket instead of pump money into the banker's pocket or John Deere's pocket, because I spent, you know, $250,000 on a new something or other that I really didn't need, because this will work just fine. So if you're trolling my channel, you're welcome to be here. I really don't care, but if you don't have anything positive to say, you know, just keep it to yourself. You can combat with other people in there, and I'll intervene by blocking you. I went through yesterday and blocked a bunch of people that were being stupid and belligerent. But for some reason, they just feel compelled to open up a new channel with a different name, maybe the same name spelled a little different, and spew more stupidity just to get under my skin. Well, the fact of the matter is, it doesn't really get under my skin. It just gets you another video to watch of me complaining about stupid people. And some of you don't like it, and if you don't like it, that's okay too. You don't have to watch. There's no paid subscription. I don't really make any money. I'm not an influencer like a lot of the guys that you just love to watch, where they have fancy cameras and all sorts of stuff, fancy shops with brand new toolboxes that look like they've never been cracked open, and you know, at the end of the day, their 6 or 8 hour day that they hire somebody else to do the work for them, they go ahead and sweep up the floor and make sure that it's perfectly clean. You know, me, I'm the kind of guy that likes to throw stuff all over the place, and then when the job is done, When the job is done and the machine rolls out and it's completely done, I clean up the floor, sweep it up, put all the junk where it belongs in the junk heap or to the scrap yard, and the stuff that needs to get picked up, like these plastic bags that all this stuff came in, pick up my tools, put them in the toolbox, and then I'll pull in the next unit and start working on that. And when that unit is done, I can guarantee you the shop will look just the same, only with different types of parts. So anyway, that's it, I guess. I'm just going to go ahead and maybe think about some of the positive comments that I had. I know there were several people who were saying, wow, you're doing a great job with that, and I appreciate those comments. But I will say this. Somebody said, hey, you'll come to realize that you should have did the back first and then do the front rack of row units, and I disagree. This is the most difficult. The front are always difficult, and I'm the kind of guy that does a difficult job first. So you hang these, they're difficult to hang, and then you put in all the, the new closing, or firming wheel and closing wheel arms and all that stuff. You're climbing over the top of everything to do that, And when you go to put the back rack together, all you do is just walk to the back, bend over a little bit, and it's nice and clear. It's really nice and clear. I mean, there's 24 hoes here, or holes as some people call them, but it's 24 hoe drill. And, I'm really happy that I have it, to be honest with you, because a lot of guys that went out of the grain business, they sold everything they have and then realized that they missed farming, and then they can't get back in it because they sold their equipment. And now equipment is so ungodly expensive that they realize that maybe it's not worth it. And I wouldn't want to be a young kid starting out today. It would be really difficult. It really would be difficult. So as the aging farm community gets older and the kids decide that they don't want to do it anymore, because there's easier ways to do it, and then when mom and dad get to the age that they're going to die or retire, and they're like, ooh, I'm going to get a bunch of money. I'm going to get a bunch of money, and then realize that mom and dad aren't giving you the bunch of money. They're going to go out and they're going to take their hard living and pass it on to a grandchild or something that can actually take an interest in it and maybe farm that way. But once it's gone, it's gone. Just remember that. You kids out there that are just looking at your parents as though they're an ATM when they're gone, the world is set up in such a manner that there isn't going to be anything left for you there. It's all going to be taken by some nursing home because you didn't want to take care of your kids, and the farm got sold because, farming is really hard to make a living at. And it is. Don't let these big guys fool you. Don't let those guys with the fancy new equipment fool you. They're probably in worse shape than the guy that runs a 750 no-till drill that's over 30 years old. And this was built in 1989, I believe. So, but anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. Wasn't a complaint. It wasn't a complaint video. It was just basically a clarification video. And, oh yeah, when I'm done with all this stuff, the shop will be perfectly clean. Right clear up to these trucks. That's a Ford, that's a Chevy. They coexist here in this shop. I've never came in and seen one humping the other. They're just here doing their thing. And I know somebody asked me how much I wanted for that Chevy, and my wife says, I don't want you to sell the old truck. Which kind of surprised me because she really doesn't like old things. But it was one of the first things that we did together when we got together. Not really. We did a lot of things together when we first got together. But this old Chevy truck, she was there when I got it running for the first time in many, many years. And the old Ford, same thing. I actually want to turn that into a huckster truck and start growing vegetables and sell them right here in good old New Jersey. But, yep. If I was going to sell that truck, I would say that at least $25,000 would have to come my way before I would consider letting it go. It is original paint. It has every option from the factory. Clausville, Pennsylvania is really not that far from here. The feed store that this particular truck came from is now a museum, and I offered it to them, but they didn't want to come up with any money, so I didn't need that much money at that point. And I don't need that much money for it now. I think it's just a cool old truck that I'm going to let live here on the farm, and hopefully I can utilize it as something cool. But anyways, thanks for watching.